Hello everybody, and welcome to this reading on behalf of Independent Arts. Today I'm going to start with some poems written by my most favourite author of all. His name is Alexander McCall Smith, a Scottish writer that has written many books and wonderful poems. The first poem I'm going to read to you is called A Washing Line Outside a Croft House. Alexander McCall Smith writes that he was travelling along a remote road in the Western Highlands of Scotland, and he came upon an old croft house, and outside on the washing line was hung a dark suit. He says, "I feel regret for what has gone, as we all must do when we think back to times when the world was fresh to us." A washing line outside a croft house. Here, on a line, outside a croft, a suit has been hung. A dark suit, old-fashioned, the wear of some older man for the regulated Sunday of a Highland kirk. Its arms, filled with wind, beat time, remind us of half-remembered rhythms. Remind us of the line of green between the sea and the land behind the sea, that strip of flowers and of whitened shells they call maxia. Remind us of that beat of the heart that is this land, the unexpected vision, the simple facts of being. The next poem I'm going to read to you is called In a Time of Distance. And this is rather an apt poem for the times that we've just been through, when loads of us have been feeling as if we are isolated from one another. The unexpected always happens in the way the unexpected has always occurred. While we are doing something else, while we are thinking of altogether different things, matters that events then show to be every bit as unimportant as our human concerns so often are. And then, with the unexpected upon us, we look at one another with a sort of surprise. How could things possibly turn out this way when we are so competent, so pleased with the elaborate systems we've created? Networks and satellites, intelligent machines, pills for every eventuality, except this one. And so we turn again to face one another and discover those things we had almost forgotten, but that mercifully are still there. Love and friendship, not just for those to whom we are closest, but also for those whom we do not know, and of whom, perhaps, we have in the past been frightened. The words brother and sister, powerful still, are brought out, dusted down, found to be still capable of expressing what we feel for others, that precise concern. Joined together in adversity, we discover things we had put aside. Old board games with obscure rules, books we had been meaning to read, letters we had intended to write, things we had thought we might say, but for which we never found the time. And from these discoveries of self, of time, there comes a new realization, that we have been in too much of a hurry, that we have misused our fragile world, that we have forgotten the claims of others who have been left behind. We find that out in our seclusion, in our silence, we commit ourselves afresh. We look for a few bars of a song that we used to sing together. A long time ago, we give what we can. We wait, knowing that when this is over, a lot of us, not all perhaps, but most, will be slightly different people. And our world, though diminished, will be much bigger, its beauty revealed afresh. Another lovely poem by Alexander McCall Smith is called Summer. And summer is on its way, isn't it? We've had some very beautiful weather just recently. Rewarded now with summer calm, two lovers lie upon a Scottish hill, beneath a sky that deepest blue, bereft of limit to its end. Oh, listen now, my dearest one, to all the things I'd wish for you. 100 lovely days like this, a sun that lingers, hardly sets, and evenings that are barely dark, the briefest pause before the dawn. Behind them, as he speaks these words, the slow currents of the Sound of Mull move past the island's shores. There is so much to love in this country when it is like this, and is at peace. When its crouching hills are the guardians of those hidden glens where heather and Scots pines remind us of evenings past when the world was less a place of wrong, when love, not distrust, was the key in which the nations sang their songs. May soft winds blow about your head, may sun caress your tender cheeks, may tears of gentle rain then wash the marks of fretful care away. May you remember from this day good resolutions and great plans, our promises once made believed, the sharing of our private hopes in letters that are signed with love, with secret names, with penciled signs. And the last poem by Alexander McCall Smith is about Scotland. He says that Scotland is a small country, and yet it is the smallness of Scotland that gives it its character, that claims the hearts of so many. This poem, he says, is about smallness and the importance of the local. It is about Scotland, but it could be about anywhere local, anywhere that is important to people because it is their place. And the poem's called Dear One. I might well up a little bit over this. Dear one, how many years is it? I forget. Since that luminous evening when you joined us in the celebration of whatever it was that we were celebrating, I forget. It is a mark of a successful celebration that one should have little recollection of the cause, as long as happiness itself remains a memory. Our tiny planet, viewed from afar, is a place of swirling clouds and diminished blue. Scotland, though lodged large in all our hearts, is invisible at that distance. Not much, perhaps, but to us it is our all, our place. The opposite of nowhere. Nowhere can be seen by looking up and realising with shock that we really are very small. We would say, yes, we are, but never overcompensate. Be content with small places, the local, the short story rather than the saga. Take pleasure in private jokes, in expressions that cannot be translated, in references that can be understood by only 2 or 3, but which speak with such eloquence for small places, and the fellowship of those whom you know so well and whose sayings and moods are as familiar as the weather. These mean everything. They mean the world. They mean the world. The Isle of Wight too is a very small place, but it's so full of love and friendship. I hope you enjoyed those poems by Alexander McCall Smith. 2 great poems now. The first one by Kit Wright, and it's called The Magic Box. I will put in the box the swish of a silk sari on a summer night, fire from the nostrils of a Chinese dragon, the tip of a tongue touching a tooth. I will put in the box a snowman with a rumbling belly, a sip of the bluest water from Lake Lucerne, a leaping spark from an electric fish. I will put in the box 3 violet wishes spoken in Gujarati, the last joke of an ancient uncle and the first smile of a baby. I will put in the box a 5th season and a black sun, a cowboy on a broomstick and a witch on a white horse. My box is fashioned from ice and gold and steel, with stars on the lid and secrets in the corners. Its hinges are the toe joints of dinosaurs. I shall surf in my box on the great high-rolling breakers of the wild Atlantic, then wash ashore on a yellow beach, the colour of the sun. And this poem is called The British, and it's by Benjamin Zephaniah. Take some Picts, Celts, and Silures, and let them settle, then overrun them with Roman conquerors. Remove the Romans after approximately 400 years. Add lots of Norman French to some Angles, Saxons, Jutes, and Vikings, then stir vigorously. Mix some hot Chileans, cool Jamaicans, Dominicans, Trinidadians and Bajans with some Ethiopians, Chinese, Vietnamese and Sudanese. Then take a blend of Somalians, Sri Lankans, Nigerians and Pakistanis. Combine with some Guyanese and turn up the heat. Sprinkle some fresh Indians, Malaysians, Bosnians, Iraqis and Bangladeshis, together with some Afghans, Spanish, Turkish, Kurdish, Japanese and Palestinians. Then add to the melting pot, leave the ingredients to simmer. As they mix and blend, allow their languages to flourish, blinding them together with English. Allow time to be cool. Add some unity, understanding and respect for the future. Serve with justice and enjoy. And I'm going to finish these readings with a poem that is very popular. It's by Lewis Carroll and it's called You Are Old, Father William. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. And yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain, but now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, why, I do it again and again. You are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and have grown most uncommonly fat. Yet you turned a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that? In my youth, said the sage, as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. By the use of this ointment, 1 shilling, the box, allow me to sell you a couple. You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose, with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it? In my youth, said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength which it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life. You are old, said the youth. One would hardly suppose that your eye was as steady as ever. Yet you balanced an eel on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever? I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough, said his father. Don't give yourself airs. Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you down the stairs.